Have you ever noticed that the more a couple tries to prove they're happy, the more people start questioning what's really going on behind the scenes? Because that's exactly what's happening with Claressa Shields and Papoose right now. What was once being presented as an unbreakable love story is now surrounded by growing rumors, awkward moments, and a series of events that have fans asking one big question: is this relationship really as strong as they want everyone to believe? Welcome back to the Jada Report. Today we're breaking down the latest controversy that's putting Claressa and Papoose under the spotlight. From the Father's Day drama that had social media buzzing to claims that Papoose seems emotionally distant, every new development is adding fuel to the speculation. And here's what's catching everyone's attention. While Claressa continues to project confidence and happiness, many viewers believe Papoose's actions are telling a completely different story. So is this just another internet rumor being blown out of proportion, or are there real signs that trouble is brewing behind closed doors? Let's get into everything that's making headlines right now. The conversation exploded over Father's Day weekend. Fans expected to see the couple celebrating together and showing the world that their relationship was stronger than ever. Instead, what people noticed was something very different. Papoose appeared focused on everything except Claressa. There were no standout public moments, no heartfelt tributes, and no clear signs that she was the center of his attention. And almost immediately, social media started asking questions. Now, by itself, that might not seem like a huge deal. After all, not every couple needs to post every second of their lives online. But this wasn't happening in a vacuum. People have been noticing a pattern for months. Whenever there's a major interview, a big event, or a publicity opportunity, Papoose appears right beside Claressa with a smile on his face. Everything looks picture perfect. But when the cameras disappear and the attention dies down, people start asking the same question again: where is he? That's what made this latest situation stand out so much. Instead of enjoying a quiet weekend and ignoring the noise, Claressa appeared frustrated. Her reactions online caught people's attention, and many felt like she was responding emotionally to things that normally wouldn't bother someone who felt secure in their relationship. As the days passed, the speculation only grew stronger. Some people began saying that her behavior looked less like confidence and more like someone trying to get a reaction from a person who wasn't paying attention. Whether that's true or not, it's the perception that started spreading across social media. And while all of this was happening, there was another person whose name kept finding its way back into the conversation. Remy Ma. The reason is simple. While Claressa seemed to be fighting off criticism from every direction, Remy appeared to be having one of her strongest moments in recent memory. Everywhere people looked, Remy seemed to be winning. Her name was connected to successful projects, public appearances, and major events that had people talking. The contrast was impossible for many observers to ignore. On one side, there was someone appearing frustrated and defensive. On the other side, there was someone enjoying a wave of positive attention. And that's where the story starts getting even more interesting, because some people believe that comparison may have created pressure behind the scenes that nobody expected. As the comparisons between Claressa and Remy continued to spread, the conversation started moving beyond social media posts and into something much bigger. People weren't just discussing who was getting more attention anymore. They were starting to question whether Claressa was actually getting what she wanted from her relationship with Papoose. That's where things took an unexpected turn. For a long time, the supporters of the relationship argued that none of the outside noise mattered. They believed Claressa and Papoose knew exactly what they were doing and that the public simply didn't have the full story. But recently, critics have pointed to several moments that seem to tell a different story. One thing people noticed was how quickly Papoose appeared whenever there was a major public event connected to Claressa. Whether it was interviews, appearances, or opportunities that generated headlines, he often seemed present. But when it came to ordinary relationship moments, the energy appeared completely different. That observation led many people to ask a difficult question. Was this relationship built on genuine connection, or was it being held together by publicity and opportunity? The rumors became even louder when discussions started circulating about expectations. According to people following the situation closely, there were certain things Papoose may have hope would come from this relationship, whether those expectations involve connections, opportunities, career growth, or simply a smoother lifestyle. Many now believe reality didn't match what was originally imagined. And once expectations aren't met, relationships can begin changing very quickly. What made the timing even worse was everything happening around Claressa's career. There had been a lot of excitement surrounding her future opportunities and potential earnings. Supporters celebrated the idea that bigger things were on the horizon, but then questions started appearing. Some expected announcements never seemed to arrive when people thought they would. Discussions that were supposed to generate excitement instead created uncertainty. Suddenly, instead of talking about victories and achievements, people were debating whether opportunities were slipping away, fair or unfair. That shift in public perception created a problem. When someone is viewed as unstoppable, every move gets praised. But once doubts begin appearing, every mistake gets magnified. Every post gets analyzed, every comment gets dissected, every reaction becomes part of a larger story. That's exactly what seemed to be happening. The more people talked about missed opportunities and delayed announcements, the more attention shifted toward Claressa's public behavior. Some observers felt she was becoming increasingly frustrated with criticism. Others believed she was simply defending herself against constant attacks. Either way, the result was the same. The focus was no longer on success. The focus was on drama. And while all this was happening, many people noticed something else. Papoose wasn't exactly rushing to calm the situation down. He wasn't making grand public statements. He wasn't constantly defending her online. In fact, to some observers, it almost looked like he was creating even more distance. That silence became one of the biggest talking points, because when a relationship is under pressure, people often expect partners to show united front. They expect reassurance. They expect support. They expect visible signs that everything is okay. Instead, people were left with questions, lots of questions. And the less Papoose said, the more theories started spreading. Some believed he was simply staying out of unnecessary drama. Others believed his silence was sending a message louder than words ever could, a message that Claressa wasn't ready to hear. As those theories gained momentum, Claressa's reactions began drawing even more attention. Every emotional response seemed to fuel another headline. Every attempt to defend herself gave critics more material to discuss. Without realizing it, she appeared trapped in a cycle that kept getting worse. The harder she tried to control the narrative, the more the narrative seemed to control her. And that's when many observers started reaching a shocking conclusion. Maybe this wasn't about social media. Maybe it wasn't about critics. Maybe it wasn't even about Remy Ma anymore. Maybe the real issue was that Claressa was slowly realizing something she never expected to face. The possibility that she cared far more about this relationship than Papoose did. Right? And if that was true, the final pieces of this story were about to become impossible to ignore. By this point, the story wasn't really about rumors anymore. It was about perception. And perception can be powerful when thousands of people are watching every move you make. As the days passed, more people started asking the same question. If everything was going so well, why did Claressa seem so frustrated? Instead of celebrating her relationship, she appeared to be constantly responding to critics and defending herself online. Many observers felt the real issue wasn't the bloggers or the comments. They believed the frustration was coming from something much deeper. The more distant Papoose appeared, the more attention the situation seemed to attract. Every time he stayed silent, people had even more questions. Every time Claressa reacted, the conversation got even bigger. That's when many critics started saying that the relationship looked one-sided. They pointed to the fact that Claressa often appeared more emotionally invested, while Papoose seemed far less public about his commitment. Whether that's true or not, that became the growing narrative online. What really fueled the discussion was Papoose's silence. He wasn't making big statements. He wasn't constantly defending the relationship. And for many people, that silence spoke louder than words. Soon the conversation shifted from romance to expectations. People began wondering if Claressa expected more attention, more support, and more commitment than she was actually receiving. And that's why the word ghosted started appearing more often in discussions surrounding the relationship. Not because Papoose completely disappeared, but because many felt the emotional distance between them was becoming harder to ignore. At the end of the day, actions often speak louder than words. That's why so many people are questioning what's really happening behind the scenes. What do you think? Is Papoose really pulling away from Claressa Shields, or are social media users reading too much into the situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this report, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching the Jada Report, and we'll see you in the next report.